Okay, guys. I believe, yeah, it is 10:30, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And so this is another edition of Interview with the Experts at the McGee Firm. I am Brandon McGee, the owner of the McGee Firm, and I'm here today with Mona Martin from Ruby Care. And so, welcome, Mona.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, we're excited to have you. And this is a topic. If I've addressed it before, it's been a long time. I can't even remember if I have addressed this on my interview with the expert. So Mona is a senior living expert. Okay, so Mona, or senior living advisor. Please kind of tell us what that means. What is your function as a senior living advisor?
So a senior living advisor is functions sort of like a realtor,
Okay.
but for senior living.
Okay.
So I'm not a realtor, I'm not a licensed realtor,
Okay.
but it kind of helps for people to understand that term
Yeah,
and
sure.
what that means. So I help people find assisted living, memory care, residential care home,
Okay.
independent living, as
Okay.
well as if they're not wanting to move right now, but maybe they need some in-home care or hospice or even skilled nursing. So I can help figure out what your next steps need to be and
Perfect.
find the best places for you and save you time and energy
Okay.
on doing that.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, that particularly if it's something that is new to a family, they've never been through this before. It's new territory and it's probably very confusing.
It is.
So I can
It
imagine,
is.
and stressful for the family. And so now you work with a company called Ruby Care, is that
Yes.
right? So before we were talking earlier and I asked you if that was a franchise and you said no, it was just kind of a homegrown company.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit more about Ruby Care and how it was started.
Okay, so Ruby Care was started right here in DFW by Joyce Logan and another partner at the time, Patty Williams. Joyce is now the sole owner, and she felt this need, to help people that are going through this because she was trying to help her mother-in-law,
Okay.
Ruby.
Okay.
So she is the namesake of the company.
Wonderful.
And they thought there's got to be a better way to do this.
Okay.
And
So just doing this on her own gave her the idea to start this business to help other
Yes.
people.
Yes.
That's awesome.
And it's not a new concept.
Right.
It's senior living advisors are out there and have been, but we have a different way of doing it, a different
Tell us about
approach.
that. Tell us.
So what you'll find in some of the other organizations is that it's more of kind of just lead generating and collecting information
Okay.
and collecting your information and
Mhm.
spreading it to a lot of different people.
Okay.
And those people start calling you.
Right.
So the way that we do it is much more personalized. We'll meet either in person, on the phone, however our clients want to meet.
Okay.
Gather their information, see what the circumstances are, what they're trying to accomplish.
Right.
And then we will narrow down the choices in that area based on what they're telling us.
Okay.
What it's budget, location, care needs, and even your desires.
Yeah.
What kind of desires you have.
Yeah.
And so we compile that information for them and talk about it, and
Okay.
then we will go with them to explore the different options.
Okay. Yeah. So that makes sense.
And we don't give out their personal information
Okay.
to our whoever we refer them to.
Wonderful.
And so they're not going to be bombarded with lots of calls and
Okay.
emails. And our service is free.
And in DFW now, it's such a massive place and there's a lot of traffic. So, if I guess if it's a adult child that's hiring you to help.
Yes.
And they live in Plano.
Yes.
They don't want their parent in Mansfield, right? Or something like that.
Right.
So you guys can kind of figure out kind of parameters
Yes.
of that, and from there see what the choices are in that area.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I presume budget comes into the picture as well.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, do you guys advise if somebody, like, so there's Medicaid to help with skilled nursing. There's also, are you familiar with the Star Plus program on Medicaid? That's for assisted living. do you guys ever kind of, I know you can't help them qualify, but do you ever kind of say, hey, why don't you go apply for some services? Y'all help with that too?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
wonderful.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, because we have all kinds of clients coming to us,
Yeah.
whether it's, whether they are strictly Social Security
Sure.
or some that have assets and they've
Yeah,
got
so you have some
babies.
wealthy people and some people with limited means and probably a
Yes.
bunch of people in between, right?
Yes.
Type thing.
Yes.
Okay. Wonderful. So y'all are willing to work pretty much with anybody that,
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, as much as we can, and if I don't have the answers for that person, then I have the resources to
okay.
get the answers or point them in the right direction.
And so let's talk about the parameters. Again, like we said, DFW is a very big area now. Kind of walk us through the parameters of where Ruby Care will help place.
So we've got a full team of Ruby Care advisors, and we help people from the other side of Rockwall to over here in Tarrant County,
Okay.
Denton County, and then we can also help if they are outside of the area
Okay.
and get them in touch with an advisor that's part of our national
Okay.
group that we're a part of.
So if somebody contacts you and they said, but I'm trying to place my mom in San Antonio, you would get them with somebody that's reputable.
Yes.
And then you guys go, what, as far south as Waco? Is that right? With your placement?
Yeah,
Okay.
further than that. But,
Okay.
but if it's better for us to turn it over to another agent that works like we do, then
you'll do that.
then we send them the referral.
Now there are some big online national placement companies, right?
Right.
So, and it's kind of a rhetorical question, but go ahead and explain why is it better, in your opinion, to work with a local company than maybe a national company where you're kind of doing things online? What's the difference in that?
So the two main things are that we don't give out their personal information, their contact information. So when I send a referral to a community, after we've talked about everything, they will have their name associated with my name. And if it's an adult child, it'll be their parents' name too. But they don't have their contact information. So that's a big deal, because if you do contact the national organizations, they work differently. They send out the information and all those people start calling you and emailing.
That's annoying.
So it can be very overwhelming.
Sure.
Because a lot of people are doing this in the midst of the battle.
Yeah,
when
absolutely.
they really have to get it done. So that's one big thing. And then we also we tour in person. We go with our clients. And help them through the process.
So a national online company is just going to say, hey, go check out this place or that place. But with you guys, you're actually boots on the ground and you'll go with them.
Exactly.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Exactly. And it's free.
Yeah.
So national is free as well, but our services are free.
Right.
And we are paid a referral bonus by whichever community they choose.
And at the beginning, you kind of compared it to a realtor, but it's maybe more. Maybe a little bit better comparison is going to be an apartment locator. Is that right?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, in the sense that that's how an apartment locator gets paid, right? They get paid by the apartment complex, not their client. So you guys will get paid not by your client, but by the home in which they end up choosing to live in.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that is standard in the industry. A lot of people are think that their rates are going to be different because they're working with us, and they're not.
Not the case, right?
It's a separate fee that that the communities have that incur, and it's just part of their.
I would also think that if you guys being here local and going to the visits to visit the homes with the communities with your clients, you're probably in a better position to maybe hear like kind of, I don't know, gossip and like maybe have a little more insider information on, well, yeah, I hear this is a good place, or you know what, this place looks nice, but I've heard some bad things. And you're probably in a better position to do that than a national company. Would that be right?
Right. We are in the buildings, and we are kind of keeping track of what's going on and the changes in management and
Yeah,
what the population looks like
Right.
as well, because especially in with people that are looking for memory care,
mhm,
a lot of times when they're first getting into it, it's difficult when they see the people at such a decline that maybe their person
it's not there
is
yet.
not there
Yeah.
yet. So we can go to different places that are gonna fit that type of person, or,
Sure.
somebody that kind of looks more like them, and they change all the time.
Yeah,
So knowing what's going on in the communities and getting eyes on the people
it's
and
real important.
getting to know the staff
Yeah.
as well, and seeing how the staff interacts
Because I'm just,
with the residents.
I'm kind of on the periphery of your industry, being an estate planning and elder law attorney.
Right.
And so I also hear some things here and there, and I've heard that there can kind of almost be like a culture at places in terms of how the staff treats people.
Mhm.
In some places it may be better than others. Is that, I mean,
Yes.
obviously we're not going to name any names, but
Right.
would you find that to be kind of true? What I just
Yes.
said? Okay.
Yeah, and usually people that should not be in senior living, they're booted out pretty quickly.
Okay.
It's
I get it.
it's a different
You gotta
type
have
of person.
patience and you gotta care about people.
You
and-
do.
Right,
You
okay.
do. It's more than just clocking in and doing a job.
Yeah.
You really have to love the people and be passionate about what you're doing.
Okay.
Because it's a very difficult job.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you get to see that, and
Now let's talk a little bit more about, so how many years have you been with Ruby Care?
I've been with Ruby Care about 4 years.
Okay,
And before that, I was in senior living already for a number of years, and met the
okay.
Ruby Care advisor that was in my area.
Okay.
And that's how we.
So you were working, were you at like an assisted living?
Mhm.
Okay, wonderful. And so then you
Yeah.
branched off into this. Okay,
Yeah, just transitioned after I left that
wonderful.
position. Yeah.
And now let's talk about the different kinds of care. I mean, for me, I've been doing this so long that I feel like I have a pretty good grasp, but there might be people watching this at some point who have no idea it's a new topic. So
Yeah.
let's kind of walk us through senior living, assisted living, skilled nursing, and memory care, and kind of tell us, what kind of person would qualify for senior living and then up to assisted living and beyond. What are the
So-
different issues that get us into the higher levels of care?
So of course, starting at independent living, that's going to be for somebody that's still very active
Okay,
and doesn't really need any sort of care, meaning they don't need anybody to help them with their showers
Yeah.
or getting dressed or taking medication.
okay,
But maybe they want somebody to prepare meals for them, and they
Okay.
want to have social interaction.
exactly.
That's what that looks like.
Okay.
There are some places that will kind of cross over on some of those things.
Okay,
But in general, that's that type of person. The next person for assisted living, that is generally somebody that needs help with medication management. That kind of gets them over that line, because you need
yeah,
2 or 3 times a day, and you
Okay.
need to have management over those meds.
got it.
Also somebody that may need some help with showers
Okay.
and dressing.
So some limited mobility issues.
Yeah, well, there are
Okay.
a lot of people that are actually in assisted that don't need any sort of assistive devices.
Yeah,
They are still perfectly mobile,
no, but I'm saying
But-
some of the people there
but yes.
have some limited mobility,
Yes.
not serious, but more kind of limited.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And then memory care would be for those that are impaired with their memory for whatever reason. Dementia covers a big, broad
Yeah.
group of things that will cause mental
Okay,
deficiencies. So, and generally kind of the line that's drawn there is if they are needing help all throughout the day, just
Yeah.
prompting all throughout the day,
okay,
and especially somebody that is prone to wandering,
yeah,
just wandering off,
Sure.
that would be memory care.
okay,
Residential care homes are smaller homes in a neighborhood, just like
Yeah.
it sounds.
Mhm.
And they can handle people, and there are licensed and non-licensed
Mhm.
for those. They can handle kind of a broad
Okay,
scope of folks as well.
okay.
And then your skilled nursing is gonna be for anybody that has a medical
Yeah.
need where they.
Like very serious mobility issues, like somebody that can't maybe really get up and on their own, things
Mhm,
like that.
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, my perception has always been that the people with the very serious physical problems, we're looking at skilled nursing. The people with the serious cognitive problems, we're looking at memory care. Is that right?
Mhm.
Okay. Do you all also advise on, and home health? If somebody said, okay, so if somebody says, hey, I'm not looking for my mom to move right now, but we just want to make sure we have some good reputable people coming in to help, you'll advise on that.
Absolutely.
Okay, wonderful. And tell us, what are some common misconceptions with senior living? I know in my industry, estate planning, I can identify several very common misconceptions that a lot of people go around thinking and saying, but they're not true. What are some common misconceptions in senior living?
A lot of people think that if they're not familiar, and maybe it's some older generation, they
Mhm.
think that senior living is a nursing home, and that's
Okay.
the only thing that's out there.
Yeah,
And so
right.
that's usually not a very
Yeah.
good
It's like,
idea.
it's all just a nursing home.
It's
That's
all
all,
just a nursing
that's all they
home.
know. Okay.
So that's not really the case, and you don't have to be incapacitated in any way to be in senior living. You know,
Okay.
you can, a lot of people maybe have just lost a spouse, and they just need a place where they can actually have that camaraderie with their peers.
Yeah.
And so independent living is great. They have a lot of
Okay.
things done for them. You know,
They go on,
housekeeping and
some of
meals
these,
and.
some of them, sometimes they'll go on like day field trips, right? Like they
Mhm.
might go to a museum in Dallas for the day or
Yeah.
something. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
and
neat.
then some people will say, I'm not a social butterfly, I'm an introvert, I don't want people telling me what to do. So that's not the case.
Okay.
You have free will, even in assisted living
Okay.
and memory care. In assisted living, you can come and go as you please.
Yeah. If you want to go on a vacation for a week, you can.
Yes.
Somebody's going to
Yes.
stop you.
In
Okay.
memory care,
Mhm.
that resident that's in memory care can leave with
Okay.
their family.
Well, let me ask you about this, and this is something it's always kind of funny to me, and I'm just curious your opinion, but I've had I've had a lot of clients obviously that live in senior living, like independent living, and I've had a lot of clients that are in assisted living. And I would often hear they're like, it's like going back to high school,
Mhm.
and then I mentioned that to one of my clients recently. She goes, no, it's worse, so kind of tell us a little bit about kind of the culture of just within the seniors themselves when they're in independent living or they're in assisted living. Kind of address this, and it's like going back to high school. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
I mean, I can see that for sure,
Right.
especially in the dining room area, because that's kind of the hub.
Yeah,
Is
right.
the dining area.
Like who sits with who?
Yeah, yeah, but we're
That's so
all
funny.
sort of creatures of habit, and
Right.
we kind of tend to stick with our
Yeah.
groups and our familiar people.
And maybe at the
So,
end of the day, we never really grow up. We just act like we
why
do,
should we?
but we don't. Anyway, I just think that's so funny whenever
Yeah.
I hear that. It's awesome. Okay. So tell us, whenever you're talking to a family, and let's say they have no idea, they're just
Mhm.
like, this is my mom, where do I put her?
Mhm.
What are the questions that you're going to ask to assess whether it's going to be independent, skilled nursing, or assisted living? What are the things that?
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about, what does a day look like for them? What are they doing? Are they getting up on their own? Are they getting in the shower? And are they safe doing those things on their own? What does the mobility look like? Are they walking? Are they using a wheelchair? Are they using a walker? And can they feed themselves? Do they need help with meals? How about transportation? Are they still driving, or
Right.
do they need help with that?
Okay.
So there's some there's kind of some crossover in that independent and assisted
Yeah,
area. So it's just digging a little deeper and finding out, it's more than just checking a box.
sure.
It's, tell me what it's like. We're not gonna just check a box. We will have to check a box, but, what does it look like? Is she getting up by herself from a chair, or is someone needing to help her get up
Okay,
out of the chair? She can still walk with the walker,
right.
but does somebody need to
Help her get out of the chair.
So there's a lot of little nuances
Yeah.
in there, but it's just asking all of those questions.
Okay.
To
So-
figure out the right spot.
Sure. So a lot of it has, I mean, obviously cognitive's an issue, but
Yeah.
and that's pretty clear, but a lot of it's like physical mobility is kind of the
Yeah.
crux of the issue for a lot of the
Yeah,
seniors.
and the cognitive,
Oh,
but
and the medicine,
just because
taking
they
the
have-
medicine.
just because they have issues with their cognition doesn't mean that they're everybody goes to memory care.
Yeah,
You can do assisted living for a period of time, even with cognitive issues.
and
So it's just kind of at which point.
let me ask you this, and I'm not, I promise you, I would never ask you to divulge any names, obviously.
Mhm.
But with Ruby Care, is there, or with you personally, is there kind of an unofficial list of, I would tell if somebody, hires me to help, I will tell them to steer clear of these places? Are there some, like kind of an unofficial list that we tell people not to go to certain places?
It's always their choice.
Well, no, I know. I'm just
So-
saying with your recommendations.
Yes.
Do you have places
But
that you would say, look, I haven't heard great things, you might want to look elsewhere?
I'm gonna recommend those that have a great track record.
Right,
And, we also look at the state, the. I
is
forget
it,
what
is
they're
it Health and
called,
Human
but
Services? Or, so there's something on on a website, I
Yeah.
guess, where you can see if there's been complaints lodged?
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
what is that? Do you know, and if, I don't want to put you on the spot, but is it Health and Human Services, or who hosts that website, you know?
Yeah, Health and Human Services.
Okay.
So if they are licensed,
Mhm.
assisted living, if we're not talking about independent living, because they're not licensed.
Right.
That's just like an apartment.
Okay,
So anything that's licensed is going to have a state, inspection
yeah,
every
okay,
year.
okay,
And so those, communities actually have that available for you if you want to look at it. They should
Okay.
have it available, but also you can find it on their website.
okay,
Mhm.
wonderful. And, along those lines of this conversation right now, what are red flags to look out for? What in your mind would you say that's something that's a red flag?
Yeah, so whenever you're in a community and you're touring, you're visiting, you're gonna wanna look at, the staff
Yeah,
and how they're treating the people, just walking down the hallway. And how are the staff towards you as, as a person that's,
Visiting, yeah.
bringing your family member to check them out.
Like, I mean, could it be as simple as, do people kind of look relatively happy and say hello, or does the staff look annoyed and unhappy to be there type thing?
Oh, exactly.
Okay.
And you want to look at the residents as well. 'Cause
Yeah,
they're gonna,
okay.
a lot of times they'll tell you,
Right,
they're like, this is a great place.
okay,
You'll be really happy here.
yeah,
The other people, they may not say it, but you can tell by the way they look.
and you also, you probably want to be careful and solicit several opinions, because I know there are people out in the world that they're just gonna complain no matter what. You know what I mean? So you gotta take into account, well, this might just be a complainer.
Exactly. And, we're in this day and age, we're used to going to Google and looking at all the reviews and doing that sort of thing.
Okay,
The people that leave most reviews are the complainers, so you're gonna see a lot of that.
oh, yeah, yes, yeah, people, that's the sad thing about this, is that when we're happy, we don't get on the internet.
Right.
It's when we're mad, it's absolutely right, it's
Exactly.
just human nature. I wanna tell you a story real quick that a client told me about 6 months ago, that I think is pretty cool. And then I want to ask you if you have any rewarding stories.
Mhm.
But I set up an estate plan for a couple probably 6 or 7 years ago. They live in North Richland Hills. And then the husband eventually started getting Alzheimer's. It progressed to where it was pretty serious. They put him in a memory care unit, a memory care home somewhere here in Northeast Tarrant County. And I really don't remember the name. I wouldn't say it if I did, although it's a positive story, but I don't remember it. And they were telling me that the guy that lived across the hall from him had been an American Airlines pilot for many, many years.
Mhm.
And apparently in the mornings, he would wake up and get very agitated and start trying to pack a bag saying he needed to get to work.
Mhm.
And so the people that worked there were, I guess, caring enough and creative enough. They came up with a game plan, and they would come in every morning. They would say, "Hey, it's time to go to work." They would help him pack his bag, and then they would walk him down a long hallway that I guess could resemble like being at the airport.
Right.
And walking out an airport concourse, and they'd walk him to the end and then say, "Okay, you made it. We're at work. You're at work now." And he would just be totally calm and go back to his room and would not have this episode. Anyways, that to me, that's the most amazing story.
I love that.
Do you have
I
any
love that.
kind of rewarding stories from?
I have one that really kind of shows how we can work together with other referral partners to try to help someone.
Yeah,
And this particular lady was, she had lived in her house since 1967. Most of it was still as it was in 1967.
yeah,
She had lots of collections, didn't have any children that could help her,
okay,
no husband. And although she had great friends and they were very instrumental, but I became aware of her through a financial advisor, her financial advisor,
mhm,
and met her. And just when I talked with her on the phone, she said, "I feel so much better just talking with you on the phone. I think that because she was trying to clean out closets and do all this stuff on her own." And I said, I've got some people, we can make this happen for you. So with that financial advisor, and then I called in a dear friend that's a realtor
okay,
for for seniors. And then with the help of her friends and of course the community, we were able to in a moving service,
yeah,
we were able to get her out of there. Her friends had a garage sale for her. The realtor was able to get her house put on the market and get the most money she could out of
Yeah.
it for her. And then she moved into a great community
that's awesome.
and was just having the best time.
That's wonderful.
And that's what it's all
So
about.
it was a success story.
Yes,
That's great.
absolutely.
Yeah, you really, here with what I do, I know there's times that what we do, critical things come up, and what we've done for a family really does help a lot. And I'm sure it's the same with you guys. I'm sure you have
Yeah.
a lot of times where you see that this has gone very well and, transition somebody to a much better situation.
Yes.
What are some signs, would you say? And guys, by the way, we're going to do a Q&A if any of you have questions. I think there's a box where you can type things in. So if you have any questions, type them into the box, and we'll get to that here in a minute. Because I think this has gone so fast. It's been interesting. But one more question before we do Q&A. If I'm the adult child of a senior, what are signs that I need to be looking for to think that, okay, maybe it's time to sell mom or dad's house and get them in a different arrangement? What are the signs that we look for that?
So safety is the
Yeah.
top issue,
Right.
and socialization.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, they're independent, but the family is helping so much that they're really not independent. They are being assisted. So if they're not getting outside of their home, they're not getting the socialization, and that's really important
Yeah.
to us.
Right.
And then medication management.
Okay.
If they're
Yeah.
kind of in and out
That's
of
a
the
big one.
doctor or in and
Right.
out of the hospital, chances are they're not managing their medications properly. And yeah, there's a lot of things
And
going
I mean,
on that,
obviously, you know, I mean, the two that should be are cognitive decline and lack of
Yes.
mobility, you
yes,
know, but I can see also some more subtle things like, maybe somebody being overwhelmed with keeping up their yard or, keeping up an entire house. It's just too much for them,
absolutely,
you know, things like that.
yeah. And along with that cognitive decline, all of those things affect them more.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Okay, let's see if there's any Q and A here. No, there's not right now. I also have a chat box. Sometimes people put things.
Okay.
No, there's not. Okay, so let me pause right now, and if we don't get a question, then we'll wrap up here.
Okay.
So your Ruby Care, I guess, is the best way for somebody in these days. If somebody just types in Ruby Care, Dallas Fort Worth, you guys are going to pop up,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
And if somebody, can somebody request to work with you specifically because they saw you here, or is it more like depending on where they need to be in the metro area, or how does that work?
They can contact me directly if they want to, and
Okay.
if I need to pass it along to another, if it's a different area, I'll be happy to do that. We want to
Okay.
do whatever's the best for, works best for
Okay.
the client. So, if you want me directly, you can contact
And-
me, or you can just Google Mona Martin Ruby
Yeah,
Care.
so guys, this is, and I should have mentioned this more, but again, we had a good conversation, so I lost track, but this is Mona Martin at Ruby Care, and you can easily find her online. It looks like we do have a question, if I can get my computer to cooperate. How funny, when there were no questions, it worked.
Exactly.
Gosh. Oh my God, this is where I may have to yell for the staff because I'm incompetent with technology. Maybe I need to be in senior care because I can't handle technology. Here we go,
There
in
we go.
action. Okay, so we have a question. Are you a and I don't know what this is, maybe you do. Are you a member of
Yep.
NPRA?
Yes, that was the national organization we talked about a little earlier. So it's the NPRA, which is the National Placement and Referral Alliance.
Mhm.
So that is, it's a national group. We have a Dallas chapter here and our DFW chapter.
Okay.
So Joyce Logan is the president, and I'm the co-president of that organization here.
Awesome.
We can.
That's a big yes.
Yeah, so we, there are standards that are part of the NPRA,
Okay.
and in order to be a member,
Mhm.
and it is a membership, you have to adhere to their
Those
guidelines.
standards. Okay.
And so two of the main things are that we tour with our clients and that we don't give out their personal information.
So to some degree, it assures a certain level of professionalism.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Great
Okay.
question.
Let's see. We have somebody. I have never done this, but somebody's raising their hand. Let's see. James, are you there? Okay, somebody had raised their hand. If anybody else has a question, here we go. There's James. Okay, what can be done for seniors who have very little income? Do you want to address that?
Yes, so it depends on what the income is, and what their needs are. So it could be that they need to, apply for the STAR Plus waiver with, the state of Texas.
Medicaid.
With Medicaid, that
Yeah.
is part of what they do. There are services that can come into the home through that.
Yeah.
And there are assisted living places that accept it, but they are very few.
Okay. And let me just kind of expound on that a little bit because this dips into one of our practice areas. But so guys, we do at the McGee firm, we do help clients qualify for Medicaid. It's a service we can provide here. So James, I mean, just for me to kind of answer a little bit, if somebody needs skilled nursing, which is the high level, we're probably looking at qualifying a Medicaid qualification.
Yes.
So there, and as Mona said, there is a program within Texas Medicaid called Star Plus that will help with assisted living. However, it's a limited program and there's a waiting list. And just on average, there's about an 18-month waiting list. Now with the skilled nursing, there's not a waiting list. If you qualify, you get the funding and you don't have to wait. But the assisted living, it's a much harder. You're going to have to wait, somewhere around 18 months, things like that. But yeah, we're probably looking at James, Medicaid type qualification if we have somebody that's really very low income.
Yes.
But guys, thank you so much for your questions. Thank you for watching this. If you came in late or you'd like to watch it again, maybe like take some notes or something from the great information Mona gave us, we will be putting this on our social media. We have a YouTube channel, a Facebook page, and here, in the next few days, this will go up there on those places. So find us on our social media if you'd like to watch this again. But thank you so much, Mona.
Thank
It
you.
was great information. I
Thanks
really
for having
enjoyed
me.
it. And you guys take care and call the McGee Firm if you need us. And remember, if you're my client, you get a review. You are entitled to a review every 2 years. Not everybody keeps up with those. So schedule your 2-year review if you haven't done that in a while. Thank you, guys.